Something strange has been brewing across the country today, and most people still haven't figured out why the energy sector has suddenly become the biggest political battlefield of the week. Alberta has been unusually confident, almost too confident, and the timing of everything is unsettling. For days, whispers have been circulating about a so-called new pipeline arrangement that seems to have appeared out of nowhere, yet the officials involved refuse to give any straight answers. That alone has Canadians wondering what's actually happening behind those closed doors. It starts quietly. Alberta's Premier Danielle Smith has been speaking in unusually measured tones, dropping hints without explaining anything fully. She didn't call it an agreement. She didn't call it a breakthrough. Instead, she kept repeating a phrase that instantly made everyone pay attention: major development with national implications. That's all she said. No paperwork shown, no briefing documents, not even the usual vague government press release. Just that one line. And somehow, that was enough to set Ottawa on edge. The reaction from the federal side has been even more mysterious. PM Mark Carney, currently away on a UAE tour, hasn't issued the typical long-form clarification his office normally puts out when provinces start stepping out of line. Instead, his team released a short, tightly worded comment, a comment that raised far more questions than answers. The statement didn't deny anything. It didn't confirm anything. It simply said that the federal government has been made aware of Alberta's initiative and is evaluating the implications. That was it. Nothing more. And this is where things start getting murkier. Because shortly after that cryptic message came out, U.S. President Donald Trump made an unexpected remark during a brief exchange with reporters in Washington. Again, nothing confirmed. Nothing stated clearly. But he said something odd, something about energy cooperation shifting in a new direction. He didn't say with who. He didn't say why. But anyone paying attention immediately connected the dots, even if the officials themselves are doing their best to pretend no dots exist. Behind the scenes, insiders are claiming, quietly, very quietly, that Alberta may have secured something that bypasses traditional federal channels. Some even suggested that certain American officials were involved much earlier than anyone realized. Now, whether this is true or just political theater is anyone's guess, but the amount of discomfort coming out of Ottawa right now is impossible to ignore. And trust me, the tension only gets sharper from here. Because a leaked note, unverified, of course, has been circulating among energy analysts. The document claims that Alberta's new pipeline plan doesn't simply aim to increase capacity. The note alleges that it shifts the control structure entirely, giving the province more authority over cross-border energy movement than any other province has ever had. Again, none of this is confirmed, but the timing of this leak, just hours after Trump's vague statement, has people connecting threads that maybe aren't supposed to be connected yet. Some Ottawa bureaucrats are privately panicking, according to a source who has allegedly seen internal chatter. They're worried that Alberta might be negotiating something outside the traditional frameworks, something that could alter the balance between provincial and federal powers. And you can feel the anxiety in their silence. The lack of aggressive pushback from Carney's team is especially unusual. Typically, any suggestion of a province freelancing on international energy matters would be shot down instantly. But this time, nothing. Just a single controlled statement and then total quiet. Meanwhile, Alberta hasn't slowed down for a second. Premier Smith has been meeting with what she calls key industry partners, though she's not naming any of them. People began speculating immediately: is this pipeline deal truly about energy, or is it about political leverage going into next year's federal negotiations? Some reporters swear they saw U.S. advisors visiting Edmonton earlier this week, though government officials refuse to comment on whether the visit had anything to do with today's developments. As word spreads, Western Canadians are reacting with cautious excitement. Eastern Canada, on the other hand, seems more skeptical. Columnists are already claiming the province might be overstepping. Critics fear Alberta could try to push something through that would force Ottawa into a corner, especially now that Carney is away in the UAE and unable to respond directly. Even the timing of his tour is being questioned. Some think Alberta deliberately waited for Carney to be out of the country before moving forward. Again, total speculation, but it's spreading fast. But here's where everything gets especially explosive. Several insiders, who claim to have knowledge of the situation, say that Trump's remark wasn't random at all. They believe the U.S. may have been briefed before Ottawa was. Not officially, nobody dares to say that, but if Alberta really has been discussing route expansions or alternative cross-border supply corridors with American officials, the federal government would be forced into a defensive position. And that changes everything. Even the markets have reacted strangely. Energy stocks in both countries started climbing sharply earlier today, right after a rumor emerged that Alberta's new plan could include an accelerated export lane. Traders are treating these rumors as if they're fact, which only fuels the speculation even more. At this point, everyone is waiting for Carney to comment directly. His advisors claim he's monitoring the situation from the UAE. But other sources say he's been in non-stop private calls, attempting to figure out how much Alberta has actually done without federal oversight. If these whispers are true, he may be preparing a response that could either calm the markets or ignite an even bigger national debate about provincial autonomy. The most dramatic rumor, still unverified, is that Alberta might announce an energy sovereignty framework within days. This framework allegedly includes language that would let the province negotiate certain export terms independently if it determines national policies are unreasonably restrictive. If something like this were real, the political fallout would be massive. Ottawa would have no choice but to intervene, and that's exactly the type of showdown Canada has been trying to avoid for years. As of right now, Canadians are stuck in the middle of incomplete information, half-statements, and intense speculation. Alberta won't explain its plan. Ottawa won't clarify its concerns. The U.S. won't say what its interest is. And everyone watching, from investors to everyday citizens, is simply waiting for the next shoe to drop. Because something big is coming. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but the way these officials are behaving tells one story loud and clear: this isn't just another pipeline announcement. This is a shift in power, a test of political nerve, and possibly a new era in federal-provincial conflict. And if what's being whispered behind the scenes turns out to be even half true, the country is about to witness one of the most dramatic energy showdowns it has seen in decades. Stay locked in. Something tells me this story is only just beginning.